Hello YouTube, I'm Ryan and I am here today to bring you my review of Sleeping Dogs. Now, Sleeping Dogs is a game that is set very much in the style of Grand Theft Auto. However, there are a lot of differences that separate the two games, and I would like to touch on those in this review. Now, before I start on any of the gameplay elements of the game, I would like to get out of the way now that Sleeping Dogs is a beautiful game. Seeing the console version, it looks as good as any other console, game that you'd find. But the PC version really seems to shine, and that's really because of its DirectX 11 features. I think DirectX 11 is really what DirectX 10 was supposed to be. When DirectX 10 released, not a lot of companies wanted to take advantage of it. Most stuck with 9. And the few samples we got of DirectX 10 at its full potential, like the first Crysis, are amazing. But with DirectX 11, it seems like developers are actually more willing to use the new features. And I think that's going to be a very positive impact on the industry. And it's seen in this game. Now, Sleeping Dogs is set in Hong Kong. And that's very interesting because Asian cities like this are usually not chosen to be settings for open world video games. And the developers have created a wonderful rendering of Hong Kong, and as I said before, it's truly beautiful, but the actual setting is very realistically depicted, and one of the things about it is that Hong Kong lacks a lot of guns. So a lot of the combat's melee combat, and that's what I'm going to touch on next. Now, the melee combat in Sleeping Dogs is pretty much ripped right out of the Batman Arkham series, which is definitely not a bad thing. It's extremely satisfying, and it's just so much fun just to beat people up. And the fact that they use the Hong Kong setting to be able to achieve this is really great. And the combat in this game, which is pretty much its main feature, and it's amazing. Also present in the game are different weapons that enemies have. Now, I don't have any gameplay on hand of the game's shooting mechanics, and I'm sure you can look it up. But the way that the shooting mechanics in the game work, you know, as a third-person shooter in the parts where it is, it's pretty generic. But what they do is, in all fighting, you have your face meter. Now, you can improve the face meter by doing like side missions, and it's called favors for other people. But you build up face while you're fighting. And your face, once it fills up, you go in you go into a state, like there will be a tent on the screen, you will intimidate enemies, and your health will come back during that time. So, and you gain face in combat by pulling off combos and doing different types of attack. And it adds to the way that the combat system works. When you fill up the face meter, and you just start doing all these crazy moves on people, it's really satisfying to play, and the combat in the game is great. And now of course there's a level up system in the game, and it works different than it does in just about any other game, and I'll show you that now. In the game, you level up your health in 5 different categories. There's cops, which you get by doing missions for the cops and being merciful to people around the city, you know, not running people over. And then you get triads, doing missions for the triads, and then just destroying things. You get your melee upgrades, which are found by returning jade statues found around Hong Kong to your old Kung Fu master. Face upgrades, which you get by doing favors for people. And upgrades to your health are found in collectibles called health shrines, which are also found around Hong Kong. Now, you get to choose where you put your points. Each skill, I think, except face and health, has 2 different trees that you can put points into, and they both connect at the end for like one final thing. And you do get choice in how you level up, and it adds to the replayability of the game. And not only that, but it gives you more choice than you do in other games in this style. Now, the developers behind Sleeping Dogs have only worked on 2 other games in their history, Mod Nation Racers and Little Big Planet Karting, both of which are great games. But the studio United Front, a lot of what they've worked on is just driving games, and the cars in Sleeping Dogs feel great. It's really fun to drive in this game. It's a little bit weird at first because it's easy to forget that until recently, Hong Kong was under British control, and they had been for about a century. So they drive on the left side of the road, and that took some getting used to, but it's not a big thing. And it's actually really cool that they went that far with it, that they went in depth and actually made that how it worked. And it's just little details like that that can make a big difference in games like this, and they've done a great job. Now, around the city, there's also races which you can do. They're pretty fun. I'm not good at them, but I'm not horrible either. And the ones that I've played, I've enjoyed them. Now, they are required for a part of the cop segment of the game, and in that part, they're not too bad. It's fun to do. Now, other things about the game that I'd like to point out are its storyline. The storyline is pretty much it's an undercover cop drama. So it's really well done though. It's well written, and in the final parts of the game, it really like gets you pumped. You really want to finish what you're doing, and it's something that only a few games really do right, and this does it right. I actually wound up caring about the characters in the game, with one exception, and it's just really awesome. And the one character that I didn't like, I wound up liking later on. And I'm just really happy with how the storyline ended up, and I just love this game. It's one of my favorite games that I've played in the past, that have come out in the past like year or two, and I would definitely recommend buying it. This is a fantastic game, and even if you're just waiting for like another game in this genre, namely if you're just waiting for GTA 5, and this is a great thing to hold you over because this is really well made. And another thing to point out is that it's by a smaller studio. Smaller game studios that haven't been around as long, they tend to support their games more. And the game has only been out 4 days at this point. It's the 18th and it came out the 14th. And we're already on patch 1.4. And they've done a great job supporting the game. And, the game's not even that buggy to begin with. It has been for some people, but I didn't run into any like glitches or crashes at all until the very end of the game, which was really bad because the end of the game is just so well done and it gets you so pumped that when the game crashed, it still didn't kill it, but it was just kind of like the worst possible time it could have happened. But that's just some weird things that happened to me. And as I said, they are supporting the game, and I think that the developers here have done a great job. And would I recommend buying the game? I think I already said yes, but let's reinforce it. If you got the money to spend and you're not looking at anything else right now, then get this game. Now, something else coming up unrelated, Counter-Strike Global Offensive is coming out in 3 days now, and once that's out, I'll try to get up a review of that too. So I'd like to thank you all for watching, and play Sleeping Dogs. It's great.